get you introduced to the general capabilities. This demonstration already assumes that DevWare has been installed, including the USB driver, which will be covered in other trainings. So you're getting started here. You'll notice that after you install DevWare, you'll get these shortcut icons on your desktop. You can also have access to all the DevWare specifics under all programs and under Aptina imaging. And here's a list of all the various sections. We won't be going over these in details, but you can certainly explore these on your own. Under documentation, you'll notice that we have user guides and development guides to help you out. And there's also these different shortcuts to our command line tools, bill of materials, and so on. Also, you'll notice there's a quick start guide. It's highly recommended you go through this. It will cover some of what we're covering in this training, but still a good starting point for understanding the basics. And also, you notice that you can start DevWare through this shortcut as well. We're just going to go ahead and double-click, how most people do, double-click the desktop icon. Now, during your installation, the basics, you'll notice very quickly that it said probe, and this is DevWare's capability of automatically finding out what sensor you have attached. In this case, we have the MT9 P111 Rev 3, and the first thing that'll pop up when it does recognize the sensor is the startup wizard. And you'll notice that we have selected both load initialization settings and play on start. This basically will get the sensor streaming right away, and you simply select finish. Now you will notice here that the default of demo initialization is selected. You do have the option of selecting something else, but in almost all cases, demo initialization will get you a streaming image. So we'll do finish here. DevWare will go through initialization, and you'll notice that we do have an image here. And this is our standard Macbeth chart that we use for looking at image for image quality. First thing we want to point out here is what's called the info panel. It's over here on your left. And what it tells you is just the basics of what you have connected. In this case, the sensor and the part number. Again the MT9 P111, and this is a SOC 5140. It also tells you your software build name and build version. Here is 4.5.5, and also tells you your demo board. This is the board that's connected to the USB cable, and other information about that, and also your frames per second. In this case, it's running at 23 frames per second. Sensor, data link, and display give you the 3 points of view from DevWare. In this case, sensor is what the sensor is running, specifically 22 frames. The data link is what's going across the USB, which is 19 frames a second, and the display is also 19. This may vary if you have a sensor that is streaming much faster than DevWare can display, but in most cases these will all be the same. And one other thing to point out here is width and height. All right, so now we have a streaming image, as we can see. Some of the other points of DevWare are the standard menu items, if you will. There's File, and we'll go over a few of these in a minute, Edit, and so on. Plugins are an integral part in our sometimes sensor-specific. Usually you will be told specifically to run one of these in special cases. These are really for, again, sensor-specific features. One of them that you can use for sensor-only parts, and this is an SoC, is, for example, universal autofocus. And this is what they look like. They're dockable in the sense that you can move them around if you want. Another one that you can use is a color chart overlay. I won't, again, this takes a little bit of time. I won't go over it right now, but you can use size and position to move these around. And what this particular plugin lets you do is figure out how close your image actually is to what a perfect image would be. Also in here is your documents, which is a nice way once you're in DevWare, if you want to go through, for example, and look at user guides and such, you can open them up directly through here as compared to going down to the start menu. Another option here which is worth looking at is check for updates. When you first install DevWare, it's going to go ahead and automatically check for updates. It does it silently in the background, meaning that if it does not sense a need for an update, it won't say anything. But if you want to manually do this, you can just check for updates now. It's going out to our website and seeing if there's anything new out there. And in this case, it looks like it's having a little bit of trouble getting to it. And then what you can do also is automatically check for new updates here by setting how often, including setting it for never if you do. But we recommend that you do at least this on a monthly basis. I'm just going to cancel this since this setup seems to not have access to the internet. Okay. So also under the help files, the help topics. So you can certainly take a look at those. Again, recommended that you go through this to get some an idea of the overall breadth and depth of DevWare, but again, we'll cover the basics here. You'll spend most of your time on this bar, which is these menu icons, which give you some of the main functions of DevWare. One of the main ones is what we call the sensor control dialog. This is customized per each sensor, and it gives you the direct control of some of the major features of the sensor. For example, sensor output, you can go in here and if you want to change the size of your of the output. And in this case, we just changed it from VGA to QVGA. You notice the width and height changed, so we can change that back if we want. This sensor also supports different pixel formats. So for example, if you wanted to experiment with using RGB format, or JPEG or anything else, including bare output, you can do that. An SoC has unique capability as compared to sensor only, that it has actually two modes, a viewfinder mode and a snapshot camera still video mode. And again, sensor output, sensor control, this output format lets you set those. In this case, the viewfinder is set to YCBCR and still capture is set to JPEG. Some of the other ones on here, again, I won't go into all the details here. You can certainly experiment on your own. And again, these are specific to the sensor that you have attached. Image orientation, you can play around with flip and mirror rotation. And this is, you can select this to be different on context A or B if you want. We'll put that back to normal. Effects, if you want to do some of the fancier mono. You can adjust, I don't know if I'm saying this right, sepia, you can play around with these to change the actual colors, negative and so on, or you can just turn it off, and so on. Now, as far as the next thing I want to cover is actually this capturing images, and you'll notice here that there are an option for image save options and video recording. Let's go here first to image save options. This defaults to saving a raw image and a BMP image. And what you can do as a default, this turns off, but if you want, you can select this to auto increment the name, and then you can specify, where the images are going to be saved. In this case, it's the default, which is under My Documents in Aptina Imaging. We'll just cancel that. And also you do the same sort of thing for if you want to record video. I won't record a video here, but it's the same sort of thing. You can select auto file name, increment, and what that means is when you save it, it'll automatically save the file for you and increment with a number. And we'll go over that in just a minute for our image save options. Okay. So we'll just close that right now. Again, looking through some of these other options. For image quality, you can go through here and turn on a graph and take a look. And this, again, this is a dockable. You can look here and see how close your image is to perfection. These should be directly even. I'm in a light box right now with cool white fluorescent, and so they're a little off. It'd be perfect. In a perfect world, these would be set perfectly, but that's pretty close. So we'll turn that off. And here's your play, pause, and stop buttons. Reset and init are if you want to actually reset the sensor and cause it to run that demo initialization again. And then preview button shows up if you want to switch between preview and full resolution. Now, if you remember under control here, we looked at output formats, viewfinder, and capture. And so if I select this preview button, I will go ahead and get a full res image. Now you notice this is huge, right? Now one nice option here is you can do the image. Now, and then you can move this around to actually scroll to different parts of it. If you want to see the full image within one screen, you can simply do a zoom out until it is shown there. Now, of course, when we go back to preview, it's going to be tiny. In that case, you'd have to do that. You can also, if you want, you can turn off the register dialog and do the same sort of thing. Get a little bit bigger image there. We can adjust this if we want to, so on and so forth. and there you have that. Filling out this, there's also a full screen mode, which is kind of nice. If you really want to see that, you hit the escape button to go back. And then let's look at the last thing I want to cover here is the grab and snapshot. So a grab is simply grabbing an image of the what's currently displayed. So if we do a grab here, you'll notice that it pops up with the two images, and we'll go back and look in the we have this set to capture 2 images, and so these have been saved since we did auto save. You can also right click and do a save image. You can also look at the save options. Again, this just pulls this up and shows you that if you wanted to, and there's the 3 images that we selected, right? Raw, BMP, and then the info text, which is just a text file of all the information about that captured image. And if you wanted to save it someplace else, you could do save image as, and that'll pull up a standard save as. If you wanted to put that to the desktop or a special folder or something, you could do that. To get out of there, you just simply do that. Now the difference between the grab, and also one other thing that you want to select grab again to deselect it, because it captures that frame, so in case you wanted to look at it if it was a moving image or something like that. The next one is snapshot. There's a pull down option. I won't go over these either, but these are some of the additional, these are specific to the sensor you have attached. But if you just select it, what it's going to do, again, since this is an SoC and has a preview and a full res, if you select snapshot, it'll actually go through and grab the full res image, and you'll notice here that it is bigger, and these images are full resolution. They're 2592 by 1944. The full res 5 meg as compared to the VGA, and again the same options are available for you. And I want to again, one other thing I promised to say is that under the snapshot dialog, you can see that we're capturing a total of 2 frames. That's just the default for the sensor, and there are other options underneath here. Again, these are batch capture is a special feature to the SoC. Again, I won't go over that because it's really SOC 5140 specific. Just as with the grab, select snapshot again to push that back to the what you have there. So that's sort of the basics of what I wanted to cover, just to get an image streaming and to be able to capture some images off it. One other thing that I will cover, I suppose, here is that, again, a sensor-specific thing is this is dependent on the sensor, but any file you can have the option of doing what we call custom toolbars, and that's what these are set up here. Again, sensor-specific, but what you can do, for example, is what these are just showing you is that if you wanted to, you could select a particular image size with the frames per second. And this is running lower because we are running a demo 2x, but the idea here is that these would be set up for demonstration purposes. And again, if you wanted to go back to your initial settings, you hit the init button, and that'll get you back to your 640 by 480, what the demo initialization does. All right. That's it for now. There'll be other trainings available that you can select through, and I hope you enjoyed this training.